Taco Tuesday!
Boys, they got me. And at the same time, I cannot be the only one who thought it was going to be different this time with this game. You know, as someone who games nearly every single day, I play a wide variety of games, as you can see with my uploads, and I'm used to hearing and seeing game developers go heavy on their promises every single year. You know, they show you these graphically amazing cinematic trailers, and you think this is going to be the next game. You buy it, and they fail to deliver in some way. They do it every year with Call of Duty and FIFA, two of the games that I buy and play every year, knowing that it's going to be the same exact thing, but just hoping that it won't be, hoping that this time it will be better. And I think a lot of you can probably relate with that. But after playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, CD Projekt Red's reputation was fairly earned. You know, they came off as this company that took on these ambitious, you could maybe call them passion projects. You know, they were consumer centric, they really cared about the gamer, they gave free DLC out, and they delivered on their games. The Witcher 3 is still my favorite game that I've ever played to this day. And after my initial Cyberpunk playthrough, nothing has changed. It remains my favorite game for so many reasons that, you know, down the road I'll probably have to make a video just to talk about it and explain it to give it justice. But in talking about Cyberpunk, the hype around this game was unlike anything I've seen since probably GTA 5. And when the expectations are that high and as high as they were, it was always going to be nearly impossible to deliver. Keep in mind, they developed this game for over 8 years. So I really thought at the minimum they were going to put out a finished product. And that finished product was going to be, you know, revolutionary. By no means is this going to be a full game review. You know, I'll likely upload one once this game is hopefully in a better state. This is just going to be my initial thoughts after I finish my first playthrough and a pretty decent bit of the side quests and side jobs that you're able to do. I'm not going to discuss any spoilers or show any of the main story and key moments. And I'm not going to discuss any of the controversy outside of the game right now because I know it's on the news and on Twitter and everywhere else, you know, with PlayStation taking the game completely off the PlayStation Store, CD Projekt Red apologizing and willing to, you know, take refunds for the game and for people who have bought it. There's a lot to unpack here, and I want to keep this video relatively short, but I just think it's important to mention that CD Projekt Red did a lot of amazing things with this game. I still think this game is going to be regarded highly once they make it actually playable after however many patches that's going to take. But Cyberpunk did a lot of things incredibly well, and I do think they're being overlooked a bit just because of all the bugs and glitches and controversy that's associated with the game right now. The level of detail in Night City is unlike any other major city or location of any open world game that I've played. It feels more like a true city with just how densely populated it is with both NPCs and just the architecture and the level of detail and design. The world itself is immersive, and to me, that's the highlight of the game. You know, when you're cruising around the city at nighttime and there's neon lights lit up everywhere, and it really has that retro 80s feel that the game was promising. But I did think a lot more of the game would be open, you know, that there would be stores and places that you could actually go inside of and discover. And it just seemed like although the city was filled with such great detail and design, it was empty of actual activities and interactions. And we see this with a lot of open world games with just how big they are, but how there's not a ton of variety and things to actually do within them. I mean, so many of the buildings and the places in this game are locked, and, you know, basically you're not able to enter them. And I know that CD Projekt Red specifically made it, you know, a key mention that wasn't going to be the case, that you were going to be able to explore all the different, you know, buildings within this game. So they failed to deliver there. But on the flip side, the AI intelligence is so poor in this game. If you've played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've seen clips or videos on Twitter or Reddit, the AI intelligence is inferior to past generation games. Like, I'm talking GTA Vice City, that far back. That's how bad the AI is in this game. So although the world is visually just, you know, immersive, it doesn't feel like a real breathing open world game, because when you interact or you're driving, you know, the NPCs are around you. I mean, it is just mind-blowing, some of the stuff you see. And this is something that I noticed early on, and it was just always evident and visible throughout your time, and I think it really took away from your experience, both from the story and just from the RPG element. Now, for an open world RPG game, the FPS gameplay is not the reason you're buying the game, but the gunfights in this game and the gunplay was just surprisingly good. Combat overall was great, I thought. And there was a significant amount of weapon variety, whether it was, combat weapons or handguns and snipers and shotguns. There was so much weapon variety. And on top of that, they even had a variety of attachments and weapon mods. Now, personally, I didn't really use or venture into the weapon mods and attachments that often. I didn't think the game was hard enough to where I needed to. All you had to do was put in an unnecessary amount of damage into an enemy, and on the flip side, one bullet or two was going to kill you. So I'm sure you can imagine how frustrating that would be. The boxing fights would take 5-10 minutes to win, and I mean 1 or 2 punches and you're probably out. So it's not that it was necessarily harder, it was just more tedious and time consuming. So that was something that I definitely didn't enjoy. I don't recommend anyone plays on a harder difficulty because it really isn't that much harder. Now, in terms of the story, there's still a handful of games, including The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, including Ghost of Tsushima, which I've already done a video on, that I thought had a more gripping story. That's not to say the story is bad, and I did only play through one of the 3 story arcs, which was Street Kid, but I didn't enjoy the main story nearly as much as some of the side stories and side quest lines. I just feel like the main story didn't offer those badass memorable moments as it easily was capable of doing, and at times the dialogue, they just dragged on for far too long, and it was a chore to sit through some of them. I mean, I was just spamming the skip button at times. I don't know if it was because the characters just talked slow or what. But going back to those side quest lines, I think the quest line with Pan Am was definitely the highlight of the game to me. The story just had so much emotion, and there was the character development that the main story just seemed to lack. Now, this isn't just because Pan Am is bad as hell, because she is, better believe it.
Got something that'll keep you hard for hours.
But the missions and kind of the deeper meaning associated with the nomads and that sense of belonging and kind of the whole theme around the nomads to me was very interesting. So I do look forward to my nomad playthrough. Maybe that will change my thoughts on the main story. The main story does have that message throughout that CD Projekt Red are really slamming and pushing into your face that, big corporations are ruining society. And I think I'll kind of dive more into that idea, the messaging, and how that's kind of portrayed throughout in my 100% game completed review that I'll do down the road. Yeah, I just think the Pan Am romance and those missions with the avocados was the saving grace to this story. I highly recommend it for anyone to just, explore and really, really just enjoy those missions specifically. Now, I may be an outlier in this, but I just did not think Keanu Reeves was needed in this game. I mean, I've seen the memes and I've seen some tweets about the marketing costs and how they were probably exceptionally high and that may have hurt the development of the game. And I mean, I think that role could have just been filled by a regular ass character. You know what I mean? I didn't buy the game because Keanu Reeves was in it. Johnny Silverhands as a character definitely brought a lot of intrigue and interest to the main story, especially when, your character V, man, he's just so dull throughout. But in terms of the failures in this game, I mean, if you've played it or watched any content around it, you already know that there's plenty to talk about. And I'm not going to get into all the bugs and glitches. I mean, I will note that just randomly driving a car and having a nude body randomly appear on the hood of your car is unreal. The game crashes in the middle of missions. I'm pretty sure they patched that for the most part, but I mean, early on, the game was crashing at just an unbelievably high rate, and it just made me not want to play the game. Although the game has several endings, for the most part, your actions and decisions don't have a huge impact like you would expect it would. Especially for a game that was developed as long as it was, you would hope that would be the case. It wasn't. In terms of some of the mechanics and physics, I thought the driving was pretty poor. I mean, especially when you compare it to GTA. I will cut CD Projekt Red some credit there. I know they're a smaller studio. It's not expected for them to master that. And I don't even want to get started on the police in this game and how, if you do any illegal activity, the police just appear behind you shooting at you. I mean, it was ridiculous. And, we thought the GTA police were bad. Cyberpunk said, hold my beer. I mean, that is just unreal. You literally do any illegal activity, you turn around, the boys are on you. It's just, I mean, come on now. I really just wanted to highlight the main things that I thought took away from my experience and enjoyment of the game that I thought, by all accounts, was going to be revolutionary, and really change the product and expectation for open world games in the future and moving forward. And I mean, I still have high hopes that CD Projekt Red are gonna turn this around. They're gonna continue to patch and update the game, and in due time, hopefully, it will be closer to the product that we all anticipated and expected. I mean, I know this video was all over the place, But I will have a final verdict video that really details everything that I loved and disliked about Cyberpunk. I haven't given up on CD Projekt Red. I still think they can somehow salvage Cyberpunk, but that remains to be seen for now. And I don't want this to come off as being like an angry review. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I enjoyed about this game, and still, this game is bounds beyond a lot of other games on the market at the moment. But I just think the expectations that we had for this game were so high, and they didn't even come close to delivering. So I just want to say thanks for listening to me vent about a game that really I was looking forward to for years, was extremely passionate about. So if you've played Cyberpunk, you've experienced some of the likes and dislikes that I had as well, or you're frustrated, let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed, please drop a like and sub, and next Tuesday I will showcase finally my Valorant montage that I've been working on for quite a while now. If you made it to the end of the video, put a hashtag GlacierBoys in the comments, and on that note, I'm out.